Pleasant good afternoon, good evening, good night, perhaps even morning. Some people are in Europe, in other parts of the world watching. A pleasant good morning to one and all. Good afternoon, good evening, good night. Welcome to the Wednesday's episode of Speaking Out, exposing corruption and incompetence. Today, Wednesday, what date it is? Today is the 13th day of December 2023. The month is moving. Christmas is just around the corner. I want to take this opportunity to wish you all season's greetings as we come with you this morning to bring you valid, credible information. My colleague, Mr. Conway, is already in the studio just waiting. He's anxious to get involved and to bring you the credible information. We have so much to tell you this morning. I continue to say we were here on Monday and we had an idea of some of the things we wanted to discuss, but some events normally overtake us. Things happen that we can't leave. We have to speak on it almost immediately, and I will do so this morning. I will address certain issues this morning. So share the live, let people know. Pace and power once again this morning. Pace and power. You know, they have some of them there who just sitting back, waiting for Slow to fall into some trap or Slow to get into trouble. No, it ain't happening so. It is not going to happen so. So some of you might have read this morning where some of them, the thing, and those, they're talking about Slow with sexual assault. I'm going to address it this morning. So share the live. You need to know the facts because they come and they misrepresent issues in the newspaper and on social media. Thank the Lord for this platform that I can tell you. And when, as I said before, when I tell you things, you don't necessarily have to believe what I say. I give you date, I give you time, and so you can go and do your own research. I implore you not to be intellectually lazy like many of those. So we're going to deal with it this morning. I'm in the mood today, and not the festive mood. I'm in the mood. I'm in the mood to war with all of those people who want to pull swords and to war. I am a warrior, and so therefore we're going to war. But you know, as I said, this is the day that the Lord has made. Let's rejoice and be glad in it. Let's celebrate being in the land of the living. So many persons are not that fortunate. So yes, and again, this morning, record numbers in the schoolyard before we decided to go live at 12 o'clock Guyana time, 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. By the time we got there, the schoolyard, man, pack up. You see, they're rushing into the school because they want to have the information. I did say in the announcement yesterday that we're going to speak about this meeting that the president of Guyana, Irfan Ali, is supposed to attend in St. Vincent and the Grenadines tomorrow. We're going to talk about that. I also said we're going to deal with the road carnage. I'm not too sure we're going to get time to go into it in any great detail today, but we're going to do what we have to do. We are going to do what we have to do. And for this morning, I implore you to sit back, strap in, put on your seat belts. The riding is going to be rough for some. And be await for the jagabots and the amphibians and them to join too. You would have noted, you know, that in recent times mean over the past month or so, they have been noticeably absent. The trolls have not been coming out, but we welcome. I want them to come to get the information and to tell the boss. I know, or the bosses. I am fully aware that many of the people have people, if they don't listen themselves to this program, they have people monitoring it to report back to them what Slow said, right? And let me give them a little, say a little thing about them. In many cases, they don't want to hear what Slow said to be critical or to see if they can sue Slow, but they're taking the advice. Just listen to what Slow says to be part of the program. And that is the purpose of this program, to educate, to enlighten, to share our vast knowledge. We have tremendous experience in law enforcement and related activities, and we're using this opportunity to share with those who want to listen. And we have said it might be viewed as an unorthodox method, but the situation has forced us into this. Prior to 2020, we would have been invited, both of us, myself and Mr. Conway, to make presentations to ranks in the force, including junior officers, about critical issues, discipline, management, divisional management, aspects of the law relating to the police. We would have been invited. But we are now persona non grata after the trumped up charges, after the unconstitutional and unlawful removal from the Police Service Commission by the president. So we are going to make use of this platform to inform and to educate. We are not going to deny the people who want the information, because many persons have reached out to us, both of us, over the year, well, over the months, more than a year in my case, right? To say, look, they'll so look forward to this program to be enlightened, to be educated, because issues that we bring up on this program are not dealt with anywhere else. Members of the force have reached out to me, have met me, and have thanked me for the information that I have been passing on, that we have been passing on this platform. They say so. I met a sergeant I'll never forget, and I have spoken about something relating to discipline. And the man met me, the man said, Chief, I am so happy that you mentioned this, because in all my years in the service, this has not been taught to me. This is a man who's wearing 3 stripes. So we are going to come, we are going to give you the information. As I've said, we have lots of things to talk about. Some people insist that the roll call must be done. So I'm going to do the roll call very quickly. I got a lot of students in today. I'm going to fly through the roll call as quickly as I can. And then we're going to go into the other issues, because they have so much. We have so much to talk about today. And once again, I say, I have a strong suspicion, and this is to the persons who have been asking me to address the police discipline. I have a strong suspicion that I'll have to perhaps schedule a program just to deal with that issue, because every time we come, time runs out and we're not getting to deal with it. I don't want to give you any wishy-washy thing. I want to go through the Police Discipline Act, Chapter 1701, in great details. Great details. So forgive me, folks, those who have been asking, if I am unable, as I suspect I would be, to deal with that today. Now, when we go to the roll call, we scheduled the program this morning. Number 1 in class this morning is Kenneth. Kenneth was here, followed by Tessa. Tessa, you come to school early this morning, girl. Lucius, very early. Pamela, in class. Orin said 12758 was his regulation number. Sean, ex-sergeant Sean Rabindranath, always present in class, always. Melissa came in at what, 8:16? Then we have Derek. Trati, welcome, welcome, welcome. Queenie from West Coast Barbies. I don't know if she's still there. When I knew her, she was from West Coast Barbies. Vibert, 1966 last year. We worked together in 1973 at Sparna Police Station. Jason came in very early. Carlisle is in class very early. Joan, not a regular. Maureen is in class waiting. Everett from Texas is here. George, Carla, a BV man, my squad mate, former policeman as well. Ulrich, yes, we can talk about that briefly, man. You're enjoying yourself, yeah? These cricket lovers and these cricket fans. 2 victories, man. 1 to end the ODI series, and then the start of the T20 series. Y'all win. Y'all doing yourself. Then we have Winston here from California is in class. Earl is also here. Barbara, Courtney, Brian, the Sauls are here. Courtney Saul and Brian Saul, they are both here. Jacko from Georgia is in class. Wayne from the UK is here, followed by Winston. Look like they came in together, both UK students. One came in at 8:41, one came in at 8:42. Jakey from Maryland is in class. My boy Jakey is here. Stian came in. Patricia is here. My squad mate, 9555 Stevens, is in here, and he said that he asked if you enjoy the T20. Of course, once you get these rare victories, they are rare victories, you have to enjoy them now. Then Terrence from California, 9135 TK is in class. Family Music is here. Clay Rose is here. Carlton, another squad mate of mine, 9430, that was his regulation number. Another squad mate, 9407, known as Buxton. Charles Goodman is in class. Old Police, Colin Stanford, old TSU man is here. Raul George, well, Raul is from immigration. He's from TSU, some all over the place in class. Sandra is here. Carville, another squad mate of mine in class. Hazel is here. John, old police, ex-police, think he's from Staten Island, is here. Como, 8218, Not old police, many old police. That's a old, not OLD, is what we just say OLE, old police, mean you've been in the force a long time ago. Felicia is here. Princess from Lamar Springs, 6123, she said her regulation number was. Emerson is here. Siobhan, Isabella, not a regular. Debbie. And then we have Tilula is in class. Clifton is all the way from Paris. You don't ever miss a class, all the way from Paris. Denise is in class. Ronald is here. Heather is in class. Vibart from East Bank is here. Lawrence is there. Carl Hartman, another squad mate of mine, 9414, the man from Arizona, is in class. Terrence, 9795, is here. He's from Canada. Monica is around. Gaston, my next squad mate, 9556, is in class. He is also from Canada. He should be a fingerprint expert in the Guyana Police Force. As a matter of fact, I can tell you, I'm sure you wouldn't mind me saying this, when we joined the force in 1974, 1st of March, he had his qualifications, a certificate qualifying him as a fingerprint expert. He joined the force with that. So we knew, if no one else knew where they were going when we graduated, it was Gaston. He went to CID headquarters to the lab. Then we have Paul, my old shooting mate, is here. Rohan Singh says he's from Parika, is in class. Philip is in class. Lyndon from New Jersey is here. Desiree in class. David, Henrik is here. Aileen, you're enjoying the cricket, y'all, I'm sure. Female umpire is here. Pauline is very much with us. Original black man is here. Wayne is here. Another squad mate, Doreen, W349, is in class. He's from Canada as well. John is here. He's from Guyana. He says he's watching this time from Guyana. He normally watches from elsewhere, but this time he's in Guyana. Charlene is in class. John from another shootmate from Brooklyn. Rohan, 12863, says number was. I remember Rohan from in the force. I remember him very well. Then we have Jean is here. Evelyn in class. Johnny. Clarence, old traffic man. Clarence is here. Bert is in class. Michael Brower, 14126. He's from the British. He's on the British Virgin Islands now. Is a kin squad. You don't like hear that, but is a kin squad. Conrad Walcott is here. Then we have Kerry is in class. Sheena, Philip, Conrad. We have Orion from the UK. My old Domino war mate is here. Francis from Melanie Damashana. Baled from Linden is in class. Rhonda is in class. Patrick, my old time driver and friend from TSU and traffic headquarters and all. Chilo, the one and only Chilo, is in class. Marvin is in class. Leslie, Ben say he's present. Leslie, I noted that they're coming late these days, but I gotta watch it. CD is not a nice thing. Fort Welly is very much here. Kurt is in class. And when we went live, the first person on Facebook was Raul. Raul don't miss a class. Then we had Popo, Colin was here. Then we have Lynette from Barbados is in class. Orin Newton, and the list goes on and on and on. But let me tell you, as I said, we have a lot to discuss this morning. So let me start off by telling you, as I've said, season's greetings to all. We have a lot of information to give this morning. We got to talk about the death of the soldiers. And I before I go there, let me go through the others, and then we're going to deal with that a little later. I told you on Monday of the death of Father Gilbert Harris. I'm not aware of the funeral arrangements as yet. We also told you about the death of Godfrey Turn, and that his funeral will take place on the 15th in New Jersey. I think it is. The service will be in New Jersey, but he's going to be buried in Belladrum sometime later. I don't have the details about when, but he's to be buried in Guyana. Then we have the death of our former cricketer, selector, West Indies and Guyana cricketer selector Clive Butts. Some information for you here in terms of the funeral. They say wake will take place Thursday, that's tomorrow night, at Perseverance, Myconi. That is where he hails from. On Friday, at his residence, 1655 Plot B, Third Bridge, or Stelling, East Bank, Demerara. That's Friday night. So Thursday night wake at Perseverance, Myconi. Friday night wake as it residents at Orstelling, East Bank, Demerara. And then the viewing on Saturday at the Central Assemblies of God Church and East Street, Georgetown. And that starts from 9 o'clock to 10. And then the service will start from 10 o'clock, and burial will take place at Perseverance, Myconi, East Coast, Demerara. That is Botsi on Saturday. I also did announce the death of former member Chico Edwards in the UK, 7702 Chico. And Chico is to be buried today. As a matter of fact, the funeral service might be going on right now, given the difference in timing. And then we have to announce the death of former Lance Corporal Brian Stacia. He used to be at narcotics, I think. He died in the Turks and Caicos Island recently after a long period of illness. And Brian was a younger brother of the Commissioner General Godfrey Stacia. I remember Brian well. He was, when he left the force, I think he went to one of these forces in the Caribbean, and he was an instructor at the Regional Training College in Barbados. I went to Barbados some years ago on a program, and he really treated me very well while I was there. So word came to hand that Brian passed recently. And then we have the death to announce of ex-Detective Corporal Wilton Ricketts, 6714. He died on Monday in Brooklyn, I understand. 6714 Ricketts died. And then on Wednesday on Monday while we were in the program, a regular on the program, Patricia Gravesandi, commented that her mother passed away. I got confirmation this morning that her mother passed away in New Jersey. She was 90 years old, and funeral, she will be buried in New Jersey on Friday, the 15th of December. That's 2 days away. I want to take this opportunity to express sincere condolences to all those relatives and friends of those persons who have passed. And I say, I hope that the good Lord grant you the faith to go through this most difficult time. It's not an easy thing to lose a loved one, especially at this time of the year. I remember many years back in 1990, to be exact, I lost my big sister. I think it was on the 22nd of December. So right away, there was no Christmas for me. So it's a rough thing. And again, I say, you have to have faith, you have to pray, you have to make sure that you do all your best to overcome. It is not easy, that I know. And to move along, let me just tell you that is the sad part. I'm going to talk before I go any further. Again, I want to play the tribute, because we said the 5 members of the GDF who passed away. I think it is only fitting that we once again play that what they call taps to them. So bear with us. It's gonna last. It's very short. We're gonna play it for them. Here it goes. May their souls rest in peace. In a short while, I'm going to give you the arrangements for the funeral of all those 5 fallen soldiers. Yeah, Aileen is saying that Ricketts was an umpire in the USA. Yes, I know that. And someone is commenting here that Stacia was a very good detective of the police narcotics branch some years ago. Well, in terms of moving on, Borde, I just want to say belated birthday greetings to a very good friend, again, a former cricketer, Guyana cricketer. Lennox Kush celebrated his birthday yesterday. Lennox, I want to wish you all the best belated birthday greetings to you, my friend. And therefore, let me bring in Mr. Conway to say what he has to say. Then we're gonna move on. CC, welcome.
Good morning all. Happy to be in the land of the living. I just want to talk a bit about Brian Stasio. In 1983, when I was transferred to the college as an instructor, he was on the very first course that I was in charge of. Can't remember the course number, and at the end of the training, the CID requested two persons, and I recommended him, and I think a guy named Singh. And Skip Roberts was extremely impressed with him, and he sent him to the narcotics branch. But let me tell you a bit about it. He's a brother of the Commissioner General Godfrey Station. And if you look at the two of them, you won't believe that they are brothers. One is very fair, and the Brian is like very, 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 very dark. And I can recall when hearing a story when Skip Roberts and Cecil Gris and Glasgow, they were on cadet course in England. And the white man asked Skip Roberts, "How are you so fair and he's so dark?" Because Skip Roberts fair and Glasgow very dark. And Skip said, "Let me tell you something. I was born in the city and he was born in the country. So I don't know between Brian and Godfrey, if one was born in the city and one was born in the country."
Again, condolences. Now let me move on. As I said, we have so much to talk about. The good part too, as I indicated, I alluded to earlier, West Indies beat England yesterday in the opening T20 in Barbados. Good game. I mean, rain came and all of that. But let me say to Aileen and Ulrich, CC, all of them, looking at that team that West Indies compiled, they put together for this ODI series. If this team play to their potential, to half of their potential, but nobody can beat them. Nobody. When you look at the team, you look at yesterday, and I heard the commentators saying that when Shepherd got out the tables turn. Tables turn what? Tables turn what? You had a batting lineup with Alzari and the people coming down the spin bowler left fast field coming down right down at the bottom. Are you telling me you got to get about 8 or 9 runs and over in a T20 game at Barbados, at relatively small ground? Are you telling me what the tight tables turn or some crap like that they were saying? I had every confidence once they started off the way they started that they were going to make that runs. And I'm saying again, they move next to Grenada, and if they play half up to, let me say, 60%, 70% to the potential, they're going to destroy England. England is a good team, no doubt, white ball team. They are going through some difficult times. We have got to capitalize on that, because that team that is assembled there now, I believe it is assembled in view of the T20 World Cup in US and the West Indies next year. So that got to be the nucleus of the team. People like Alzari had a bad night. Russell come back in and shine with both bat and ball. Awesome team. Awesome team. Let's hope for some consistency now. Let's hope for some consistency. I'm sure CC will want to say something about the cricket, so let me give him that opportunity. CC.
Just like you, Paul, I told my wife that is an unbeatable team, that team can take on the world and win. My only little concern is that I hope that I hope that they stay fit. And if they stay fit, well, then I don't see any team really beating them. They should carry away the T20 Cup.
Yeah, Sharon is saying that Timaya got to do better. Yeah, and that is the point, because Timaya is an outstanding fielder. I was telling them, especially the ball is in the air, Timaya hardly drops a catch. Timaya didn't come off with the ball. Therefore, get a golden duck. And yet still you are able to easily pull the score down. So that is what I'm saying to us, that is a really fantastic team put together, and they ought to do well. But let me move on. And since you're gonna please excuse me here, because I might likely to be a little lengthy and leave you out for a little while. So I apologize, sit in front. And I'm referring here to this matter with me. You would have seen it in the Stabrook News today. Um, the thing come out with something last year. What the thing say? Let me read. He wrote something to say, no escape for Paul Slow in sexual assault charges. And then he goes on, the byline says, well, let me read what the byline. Be it quick or slow march, Slow still to face the music in sexual assault charges. Let me give you all the facts because the release that was given by the police is so unprofessional and misleading, but one cannot expect nothing from the police corporate communication unit, which is headed by Mark Ramatar. These people are so unprofessional. The first thing I want to see is that the matter, or the matters, because there are three, are matters that are conducted in camera. For those people who do not know, it means that it is conducted in private. The matters came up yesterday, and the magistrate ruled for summary disposal. And even before the magistrate got into the ruling, the magistrate emptied the courtroom of all persons who were not connected with this case. So we had the lawyers who were there, not connected with the case. If you had other people, the press, the media people, the people who were on the Zoom platform, they were all sent out because it's a sexual offense charge. And the law says that these things are to be held in camera. In other words, only the defendant, or the accused, as the case may be, the prosecutor, the defense lawyers, the magistrate clerk, and only those persons are to be there. Well, let me go on and give you a background to what transpired, because out there portraying this thing about sexual assault, people going away with the wrong idea. Back in 2021, or even before that, let me tell you that by now you would have known that we had this team put together by former Commissioner Leslie James to review the police standing order. Team comprised of myself, Mr. Conway, retired Assistant Commissioner Whitaker. They had retired Senior Superintendent George Fraser, retired Superintendent Mark Gilbert. We are all charged before the court conspiracy to commit fraud. I'll tell you something about that as we go along. So we were there working on this standing order. It included Andrews Jr., Assistant Commissioner, and other ranks were there with us during this period of time. Now, what happened is this. That was the thing started in 2019. When an attempt was made to remove myself and Mr. Conway from the Police Service Commission, they came with this trumped up conspiracy to commit fraud charge, which is going on at the moment. And then for the first time, when I appeared in court for the first time on October the 15th, 2021, these charges were filed on May the 19th, 2021. When I appeared in court on the 15th of October 2021, that is the same video that circulated where the police, Ramana, Singh, and Duke, and Thomas Soku, are arresting me in the court compound for the same charge that I'm there to attend, which Ramana had applied for a summon and got for me to attend. They are in the court compound manhandling me for the same charge that I was there to attend. When eventually after the lawyers intervened, Mr. Selwyn Peters and Mr. Patrice Henry intervened, they allowed me to go to the court to answer the charge. And the charge that I went there to answer was conspiracy to commit fraud in relation to this standing order review. I was therefore shocked when the magistrate proceeded to read 3 other charges accusing me of sexual assault. And here, let me show you the facts because they're misrepresenting this thing. These are the particulars, or this is the particular of all 3 charges. The dates are different, of course, and it is contrary to Section 4.3 of the Sexual Offences Act. And the particulars, the essence of the particulars say that you on 26th day of March 2019 at Police Headquarters, Ivlery, Kingston, Georgetown, Guyana, touched Nicola Kendall in a sexual way by rubbing her thigh and foot without her consent. This is alleged to have taken place on the 26th of March, on the 29th of March, on the 2nd of April. Interestingly, those were 3 consecutive days when the Standing Order Committee met, right? The person that they have there, the person who's making the allegation was Assistant Superintendent Nicola Kendall from the police. And you would note that I have mentioned this matter before, but I avoid mentioning names because I'm acutely aware that matters before the court, matters that are sub judice, you shouldn't really be commenting on them. I'm not going to comment on the elements further than what I'm saying here. But to see that the police corporate communication unit issued a release, and I saw the release. And credit to Stabrook News in particular. I don't know if anybody else because I don't read some of those rubbish and the trashes. But Stabrook News, this omitted a lot of the nonsense, the salacious nonsense that they mentioned. I'm going to tell you what the release said. I have nothing to hide. I am not Nigin Damlal. Yes, I am charged 3 sexual offense charges. I am not never in the denial mode. Dharmlal is not, and I put this up for you to see again, let me put it up. The allegation is that I touched this Nicola Kendall in a sexual way by rubbing her thigh and foot without her consent. It's not rape like Dharmlal. It's not bugger like Dharmlal. That was never the allegation. And furthermore, it's not, let me tell you, the man who's in the news is not rape like what Ralph Gonzalez, the Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, was accused of. 2 women accused him of, one woman, a police woman who was working at his residence, accused him of raping her. And let me read, man. Let me read. I tell you how today is space and power. WikiLeaks. Y'all remember WikiLeaks? WikiLeaks was the thing, I think it was Assange or whatever his name, with all those revelations from all the government, all those secret information, secret communication between the American embassies and the State Department. WikiLeaks exposed all of those things. And the thing says here, this is sometime in, let me get a date, 2008, I think. They say, policewoman, this is the headline. And I tell you all, there's research, and you can do the research as well. Policewoman offered US $185,000 to drop rape charges against St. Vincent Prime Minister, says leaked US cable. And it goes on to say that if US diplomatic cables published by WikiLeaks are to be believed, the policewoman who in 2008 accused St. Vincent and the Grenadines Prime Minister Ralph Gonzalez of rape was offered $185,000 in cash, a low-income house, and an opportunity to study abroad to drop the charge. However, source close to the alleged victim said she is vehement that she never got paid off. And the thing goes on to say, I know that this officer is still harassed by the police I command. Recently, she won a scholarship to go to university to study and was turned down. These actions do not indicate a person with whom the state has made peace. They go on and they say a lot of things. The other allegation against him is that a Toronto human rights lawyer has charged the Prime Minister St. Vincent and the Grenadines with sexually assaulting her during a meeting in his island mansion. In February this year, Margaret Parson, Executive Director of African Caribbean Legal Clinic in Toronto, filed a complaint in the magistrate court alleging that Prime Minister Ralph Gonzalez, 61, attacked her during a private meeting back in January 2003. Them allegations, those are the allegations that we know, darn allegations. Me and Duckin and I didn't, because in the case of Ralph Gonzalez and the policewoman, the DPP of St. Vincent, like the people went to the same school, discontinued the proceedings because a private criminal charge was filed against him and it was discontinued. I don't want that. So let me tell you all what happened. When these charges were filed against me in 2021, the charge filed in 2021 the charges allege that in 2019, 26th of March, 29th of March, and 2nd of April, these incidents are alleged to have occurred. Understand me here, 2 years before. What happened in 2021? 2021, around May, that's the time when the president and the attorney general and the government were coming after me and Conway and all of us with the standing order review. We end up getting charged. So somehow this thing came. When I appeared in court, as I've said in October, that's the first time I knew that there were these allegations against me. They were never put to me. Nobody ever told me about these allegations. So the charges were indictable, and therefore I was not required to plead to the charges. I was put on bail, as the one said. $75,000 bail on each of the charges, sexual offense charges, $100,000 bail on the conspiracy to commit fraud charge. The matter since 2021, October, all sorts of dancing taking place, all sorts of dancing. My lawyers, I'm represented by Hughes, Fields, and Stubby, and not Clarence Hughes as they release it. They talk about Clarence Hughes. The police release is Clarence Hughes, but it's HFS, Hughes, Fields, and Stubby. Clarence Hughes is one of the members, deceased a long time ago. But the police corporate communication unit talks about the dead man being involved in this thing. Right? So the charges were indictable. I wasn't required to plead. Then at one of the hearings subsequent, the prosecution made an application for the matter to be disposed of under the Administration of Justice Act 1978, which allows for indictable charges to be disposed of summarily. In other words, again, teaching, if the charges continue to be indictable, it means that it's a judge and jury have to decide your fate. Judge and jury. So you have to go through a long process, end up at before the judge and jury, and then the trial. So the prosecution asked for summary disposal. My lawyers decided to oppose that. They said, look, we want to go before the judge and jury. Let's go before the judge and the jury, so let's slow be tried by 12. Let your fate be decided by 12 of his peers. They objected to that, and therefore the legal arguments that were raised, the arguments were in respect to whether it should have a summary disposal or whether you must have judge and jury trial. It prolonged and it prolonged and it prolonged. Yesterday, well, the magistrate was scheduled to give decision on this matter several times. And then yesterday, the acting chief magistrate gave our ruling. And you know what they refused it, what they did not say? The magistrate said that if she had chosen, or if she was to choose the paper committal, she mentioned that the paper committal, it will take too long a time for this matter to be determined. Now, what is the paper committal? Provided for with these sexual offense and other cases, is that rather than have let me say this, when you have if the matter was to be proceeded with indictably, it means with about a PI, a preliminary inquiry, where the magistrates will listen to all the evidence, or most of the evidence, not necessarily all, and decide whether there was a prima facie case. Then it would have been sent to the DPP for the DPP to do the indictment. That is what it is. But with this paper committal, you're avoiding the victim having to go through a preliminary inquiry. Because people say that is re-victimization. The person got to go there and repeat what happened, get cross-examination, get enough licks in the box, and then if the magistrate found that there was a prima facie case, then the person has to go now in the high court and go through that whole process again. So in a very progressive move in recent times, they have decided to do away with preliminary inquiry in certain cases, especially sexual offense cases, that you do a paper committal. So where the submissions and all of those things are made in writing, and the magistrate go through the submissions, and then a paper committal, meaning that yes, they commit you to stand trial, the DPP can indict, but the victim and witnesses don't have to go to a preliminary inquiry to give evidence. The magistrate yesterday said that had she chosen this paper committal, it would have taken so long, and she said that she believed that Mr. Paul Slew, that is me, in case you don't know, we can get a fair trial at the magistrate level. So having regards to that, she decided she was going to allow for a summary disposal. Now remember, once the matter is brought indictably, when I appeared in court on this matter for the first time on the 15th of October, you're not required to plead because it's an indictable charge. Now yesterday, once the magistrate made a decision that the matters are going to be disposed summarily, that is the time you are required to plead. So once she made that decision, she asks the prosecution if they have any thing to say. Asked my lawyer, said, no, Your Worship. At which stage the magistrate reread the charges to me. Reread. And as I said again, let me put it up. She reread the charges to me and asked for my plea, and I entered not guilty plea on all three of the charges. She then transferred the matter to Court 3. She transferred the matter to Court 3 for the 21st of December for a report. For a report. So when we get there on the 21st, it will be for a report. And let me go the thing here. Tell you how long is space and power. The release from the corporate communication unit went on to say, and this is the unprofessional part, As I've said, this matter was in camera. So no reporters would have been there. Nobody other than the prosecutors, the defense, and the magistrate clerk and all this everything. None would be there. And they issue the release, and then it goes on to say, on the 15th day of October 2021, this is the Police Corporate Communication Unit, Paul Slow appeared before Magistrate Sherdal Isaacs Marcus in the Georgia Magistrate Court 3, where the charges were read to him, and he was not required to plead to the 3 charges. The magistrate released the accused on $75,000 bail on each count. Then here what they go on to say, this is the unprofessional part. This in the year 2020, not 2020. In the year 2020, that is what the Police Corporate Communication Unit is saying. Paul Slow had allegedly sexually assaulted a female police officer, and in the process told her that he had to promote her. Back then, he was the chairman of the Police Service Commission. They go on to say the female officer promptly reported the matter to her superior officer, who, however, the officer took no action. The female officer had to wait several months after for her matters to be investigated and legal advice obtained to charge the perpetrator, Mr. Paul Slow. Misrepresentation. These allegations occurred 26th of March 2019, 29th of March 2019, 2nd of April 2019. And here what these people saying, that this investigation was not done until 2021. And then they're claiming that a few months, the female officer had to wait several months after our matter to be for matter to be investigated. Oh, after 2 years before and who investigated this? This matter was investigated by SOCU, commenced the investigation. SOCU commenced the investigation of an allegation of sexual assault. You put 2 and 2 together, and here we go. I'm saying I'm not going to allow them to get away with this misrepresentation of what is going on. I am not. And here, and I said the bad part, the last 2 paragraphs relates to evidence in this matter. There's nothing wrong with them reporting what took place in the court yesterday, that Slow appeared and the charges were read and Slow pleaded not guilty. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. The matter put off for the 24th of December. But when you go into this last 2 paragraphs, which was never discussed in court yesterday, it means that they have access to the file, and it means that either that or the police prosecutor, Mandel Moore, had to have told them this. Mandel Moore had to have told them that how this assault the female officer, and they told her that he had to promote her. That's part of the evidence. That's where the allegation is being said. And to come out with a release and to put that type of thing inside the release just confirms how unprofessional these people are. And as I say again, credit and kudos to Starbrook News, because I read the Starbrook News account from the police report, and that part was never mentioned. But I'm going to mention it, because it tells of the unprofessionalism of Mark Ramatar and those people in the Police Corporate Communication Unit. How could you be revealing what is supposed to be evidence in a matter that is being dealt with in camera? And of course, the left hand one, jump on it, because you write the same thing. No escape for Paul Slow. Slow never tried to escape. I tell you, right now I'm happy that this matter is finally going to go before a magistrate to be tried. And I am anxiously awaiting the date, because when the 21st comes to report, so I guess the magistrate is going to set a timeline for the prosecution to start the case. I am looking forward to that. I am looking forward to that. I am salivating. I'm looking forward to that opportunity for them to come and bring the case. Bring it on. Don't just come and release this nonsense. And here, let me tell that one, and I'm going to call his name because it's the article, the Big Smith, the left-hander, the Volkswagen. He says here in one of the paragraphs, he said, back in 2009, Paulie Slow, Paule. Not me, I ain't in the thing. I have never had problem with my sexuality and my gender. So my name is Paul Slow, Paulslowe, and he writing Paule. I ain't there, sir. That's a you and your nastiness, not me. I too old to get involved. I have never been involved in that type of behavior, and I'm too old now to get involved. You yourself said that I am a geriatric, so I ain't getting involved in that type of behavior. Not now, not ever. So understand it. Paul Slow is the person, not Paulie Slow. So don't imply anything there. Don't imply anything there at all. Thing. Don't. I am there in the way. And you know, it's a little contradictory for you to want to accuse me of sexual assault on a female, then put in the name Paulie to suggest that perhaps I am I left-handed like you, or I'm a Volkswagen with the engine in the back. No, no, no. I have never had problems, or there was never any doubt about my sexuality. So we understand it. Let us understand it. Again, I say, I am looking forward anxiously, now that we have reached this stage, for the trial to commence. I have a strong suspicion that when we come up on the 21st for the report, the magistrate is going to set the date for the trial. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. At long last. And remember, again, let me give the timeline. These matters are alleged to have taken place. These incidents are alleged to have taken place on the 26th, 29th, and the 2nd of April, 2019. The matter was investigated in 2 years after, 2021. I appeared in court for the first time on the 15th of October, 2021. And that is for the first time. That is the first time I knew that sexual assault allegations had been made against me. On the 15th of October, 2021. Then the magistrate, if my heart didn't good, when the magistrate start reading the charges there, perhaps I would have fallen down. Because nobody ever told me, nobody ever questioned me in respect to that. Soku, who commenced this investigation, the same one at Soku, the Ramana, who commenced this investigation, they never told me anything. And I got another senior one involved, but I'm waiting for the correct time. I am waiting for the correct time, because you got another senior left-hander, a Volkswagenist involved too. Hold on, time coming. You said time longer than twine. Let me ring in Mr. Conway, because I can go on with this whole morning. CC, what say you, my brother?
I'm happy that you took time really to clear up the misconceptions. And then again, I know that you're strong and you're not weak down the leg side. And it's good that you cleared up, because up to this morning I was on the road and I had to explain to a female, because when she heard that you were on sexual offenses charge, she equate you with Damlal. She, she, she equate you to Damlal, that you rape and that you buggered a female and that you break on her back and you break 2 pot spoons in sperms on her back, and that you have raised the level of the value of a pot spoon of sperms is now $10 million. So I'm happy that, Paul, you were able to clear it up, and I know you'll have your day in court, and you're waiting for your day in court.
Yes, not only waiting, anxiously waiting for my day in court. But let me move on. And we're going to talk now about this crash again, because quickly let me tell you that the funerals will start today. Let me tell you about that quick time, because some people might want to follow it. The pilot, Mike Charles, is going to be cremated today. And the arrangement, as I have it here, says, let me read to you quickly, that and that would have started already. Um, we would have had tributes from 9:15 to 9:45 at Memorial Gardens. Then from 11 to 12, tributes at Block X, Hyde Park, Timeri. 12:30 to 1, resting of the casket at his mother's residence at 13, Lot 13, Soesdijk, East Bank, Demerara. Tributes may be given there as well, but if family wishes. And then from 1:15 to 2 o'clock, funeral service at Soesdijk Church of the Nazarene. And it goes on to say, military parade followed by cremation at the Memorial Gardens. But in terms of the military parade, if they have a note here, I have something here to say that will be at 14 to 14 hours to 14:30 hours at the Promenade Gardens in Georgetown. So there's the respect of Mike. And as I'm on to that, let me tell you the other arrangements that I understand them. Because the other 4 persons will be buried and cremated on Friday. If we start first with Brigadier Gary Beaton, the information says Friday, December the 15th, from 11 to 12:45 at the Promenade Gardens. And then he will be buried at La Panther, the La Panther Cemetery. Then they say here too that on the same Friday, the 15th of December, Colonel Michael Sahoud, funeral arrangement at the Brigham Cathedral from 7 to 8. 9 o'clock, Memorial Gardens Crematorium. And things. So he's going to be cremated Friday morning at the Memorial Gardens Crematorium. For those of you who don't know, that is a place in the La Panther Cemetery, right? They got it there. And I already told you about Lieutenant Colonel Charles, Lieutenant Colonel Sean Welcome. Friday as well, Promenade Garden from 9 to 11 and 12 o'clock at the La Panther Cemetery. The last person here, Warrant Officer Toucan, he was promoted posthumously. When he died, he was a staff sergeant. He was promoted to Warrant Officer Class 2. Friday at 1 o'clock, Bornham Court. Friday the 15th, Bornham Court. Those of you know about Bornham Court, Mill Street, right by the Promenade Garden there. And then that's 1 o'clock. 2 o'clock, Promenade Gardens. And then 4 o'clock, Memorial Gardens for cremation. So that is the arrangement. Mike Charles today, cremation service at Soesdijk, from Soesdijk Cremation in Memorial Gardens this afternoon, which will be preceded by the military parade. And then on Friday, you have the other 4 persons at various times. And you need, I suspect the police are going to issue a traffic advisory sometime soon, maybe tomorrow, or wait to the last moment, because you could expect that with all of these funerals, 4 funerals, military funerals with military parade, military procession, and all of the thing, that you're going to get a traffic gridlock in Georgetown, in and around the area. So that is the information in terms of that. But let me say this before I bring in my colleague. The post-mortem examination on these bodies were performed on Monday, as I did indicate, because I know post-mortem examinations are performed Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. In some cases, you have in other cases, you might have other days, but those are the regular days that the post-mortem examinations are performed. And I did say that once the bodies were brought out on Friday, chances are they were going to perform these post-mortem examinations on Monday. They did that. And you didn't hear anything all day Monday, all day yesterday, Tuesday, till last night. A release on the police. And the release said, and I'm going to read what the Gordon Mosley wrote from the release. He says, the Ghana Police Force reported this evening, he was talking, that's yesterday evening, that post-mortem examinations were conducted yesterday on the remains of the 5 Ghana Defense Force soldiers was left out, who lost their lives last Thursday, should have been Wednesday, when the helicopter crashed during a trip from Olive Creek to Arau in Region 7. God, you got to buy me a drink, by. You said Thursday, the people died, it was Wednesday, if my memory serves me correct, and so on. Of the 5 who died, 3 of them died from severe burns, according to post-mortem examination report. The report stated that retired Brigadier Gary Beaton was so badly burnt that he had to be identified by his dentures. His brother and a brother-in-law identified him. The commanding pilot of the helicopter, Lieutenant Colonel Mike Charles, was burnt beyond recognition and was identified by a name tag that remained on part of his uniform. The report also stated that Lieutenant Colonel Sean Wellcome was badly burnt and he was identified by two of his siblings. The other two victims, Lieutenant Colonel Michael Sahoud and Staff Sergeant Jason Khan, both died from multiple injuries to their bodies. News source understand that it is suspected that Lieutenant Colonel Sahoud is Colonel Sahoud. Gardner, you got to pay big by Colonel Sahoud. You said Lieutenant Colonel. He's the Colonel Sahoud. Jumped from the helicopter as it plummeted through the trees to the ground. His body had to be removed from a tree where it had been stuck. Two servicemen, co-pilot Lieutenant Andy O'Crawford and Corporal Dwayne Jackson, survived the crash. They were both admitted to the hospital after they were brought out from the crash area. News source understand that the helicopter broke into three pieces and a section of it burst into flames as it crashed through the tall, large trees in the jungle. Staff Sergeant Jason Khan, who has since been promoted posthumously, was reportedly pulled from the wreckage by Corporal Jackson, but died a few hours later as they waited for help. In addition to his multiple injuries, he was also badly burned. A cause of the crash is still to be determined as the incident is under investigation. And then it goes on to say the information I gave you earlier. The funeral of Lieutenant Colonel Mike Charles will take place Wednesday, while the others will be laid to rest on Friday. Now, this postmortem report raised a lot of issues. Now, if these people were so badly burned, the report is saying that Mike Charles was born beyond recognition. How come they identify you by a tag? You identify by a tag. That is proper identification. One would have thought, and that is my training. I did that report at the FBI, that in cases like that, you have to identify the bodies by science. If prints are there, prints. Even when you come to the dentists, they talk about no relative can give dental identification. It has to be dental record from a dental facility and all of that. And they say in some one of the releases that they took samples for DNA identification. So I am still confused. And a big question, a burning question when I went through this as a former senior police officer, FBI trained. If you're saying that the pilot, Mike Charles, was burnt beyond recognition, as they say in the report, how come the co-pilot survived? The co-pilot is supposed to be next to the pilot. And one would have thought that if the pilot burnt beyond recognition, that the co-pilot may have suffered the same fate. So there are a lot of questions to be answered. And I know they're going to tell you, well, let me wait on the investigation. That is what they are going to say. But I'm telling you, the maths and maths. This plane crashed and burned so badly that Mike Charles, well-known, popular pilot, perhaps one of the more experienced helicopter pilots in Guyana, he was burnt beyond recognition. That is what the report is saying. And they have identified by some tag. What nonsense is that? What nonsense is that? And then you're still taking DNA. It simply means that you're not satisfied with the identification. You are not satisfied with the identification. So a lot of covering up. People are stupid. You might be big. The Volkswagen say I'm a geriatric. Yes, because they say by definition geriatric is once you pass 65. And I long past that. But my brain is still functioning. The brain is still functioning. And I'm saying because of the silence of these people, it fuels speculation. Again, I ask the question, if Mike Charles, the pilot, was burnt beyond recognition, according to what they are saying, how come the co-pilot survived this crash with virtually no scratch or anything like that? How come? And the co-pilot, as I know, they know different. Perhaps they can clarify that. Sits next to the pilot. They're the two up front there, pilot and co-pilot. That is how I know it. That is how I know it. Well, let me bring in CC to say something here. CC, help me out here, man. This postpartum examination confusing me even more. And I know that I am not the sharpest tool in this shed, but oh man, me I'm stupid. So help me out here, CC.
Paul, just like you, I did management of that investigation, one of the courses at the FBI. And this investigation that is going on, it leaves much to be desired. And they gotta realize that they're not only investigating an aircraft accident, they are investigating the death of 5 persons. And that's critical, the death of 5 persons. And in my training with the FBI, I remember Arthur West Weaver. He was our facilitator. And here's what he said. This was the code. This was the I have the document here, management of that investigation. And it's saying this was on the front page, and that was the team throughout our training. It say no greater honor will be bestowed on an officer or a more profound duty imposed on him than when he is instructed with the investigation of the death of a human being. It is his duty to find the facts, regardless of color or creed, without prejudice, and let no power nor deter him from presenting those facts in the court without regards to personality. Let me go over again. No greater honor will be bestowed on an officer or a more profound duty imposed on him than when he is instructed with the investigation of the death of a human being. It is his duty to find the facts, regardless of color or creed, without prejudice, and let no power on earth deter him from presenting those facts in the court without regards to personality. And I don't know how you could, a relative could say, hey, that you identify him by his denture. I don't know what really went on there, but in terms of the training that I had, they talk about identification of mass casualties. We deal with mass casualties, talking about accidental deaths, fire, explosion, vehicle accidents, aircraft accidents, and military operations. And some of the things we want to know, what happened at the scene, accident scene? Was it properly secure? What about the chain and custody of physical evidence? Communication between the investigators and the central office? The relationship between the clothing of the person and personal effects found at the scene of the respective human beings. And you identify some of the means by which you identify, yes, they get it clear by dental records. Yes, they get it, yes, well, if they're born up, they might get fingerprints. You check out health records. And if possible, if you can get blood, you do blood tests. They say the identification of unknown human remains is based upon comparison of known information derived from records with data obtained from examination of the victim. What you know about the victim and what you find at the scene or what you found on the victim, you use that comparison to see to come to a conclusion whether that is a person you're looking at. You said dental, yes, but then two relatives, maybe they are quack doctors or quack dentists, and then they come and say, yes, this is the person. And then, Paul, a very critical area. Now, we had some men rappel. They went down to Ground Zero. They spent 2 nights there. And then you have two survivors. We have not heard a word. We have not seen a sentence from the survivors. Nothing from the survivors. Nothing from the persons who rappel, who went down there. What is the army holding up? Who is the army withholding? Come out plain and say, what is it? Come out and let us know. Don't mind how damaging it sound. Give us the facts. And if you don't give us facts, people are going to start make their own assumptions. Because people saying the co-pilot wasn't in the co-pilot seat. People saying that, hey, look, I don't know what truth is, that the condition was so bad that he refused to fly, and the chase at the back, and the operation man was flying the aircraft. All kind of thing you're hearing, and all because the army is silent. A wall of silence exists up to now. Since Saturday, not another not another news conference. The army must give update. They wait until the investigation finishes, and then when the investigation is completed, by then you have a whole set of allegations that they can debunk. It's terrible. I'm saying those persons who survive, are they so psychologically affected? Are they so affected like the boss, that they can't say anything, that they can't recall what happened? They are the person they could tell you. They could tell you how they take off, whether they had fuel in the aircraft, whether or not who was flying, and the position of the persons who were on that aircraft. So many things that you can get from those survivors and those persons who went down to ground zero. But the army is silent, a wall of silence, and therefore they open up themselves to a lot of allegations, and a lot of damage will be done, that maybe no damage control work that they do will be able to clear up anything. It is horrible. It's like the ancestor, the giant ancestor, went into labor and gave birth to a mouse.
Well said, but let me say this, Let me say this. When you are silent, as they have been, you're gonna come out with something that lacks credibility. People don't start to speculate and to see all sort of thing. By now, I am sure the survivors would have been able to give an outline, of to give an indication as to what transpired, especially in light of the fact that the GDF doctor on Saturday and the Prime Minister, this lion Mark Phillips, on Monday in Parliament, said the people are in good spirits. So it's not a case where they are unable to speak. As a matter of fact, I saw a report that they have been discharged. I don't know how true that is. So they are in a position to give an account of what transpired. And this is crucial. In many crashes, the investigators will tell you that they are not that fortunate to have survivors. So they have to go on science and based on the skills and all of that to determine exactly what transpired. But in this case, you have two survivors, including the co-pilot. So from an investigation, that is gold. And they're saying too, according to the GDF, the man in charge is correcting, that the flight, the data flight recorder, whatever it is called, referred to the black, but was recovered. And that is supposed to give you all kind of information. I don't think they have the means in Guyana of decoding what is there, but they're going to get outside help. And for the person, I had said on this program on Monday that an investigation of this nature requires the help of professionals. And the most professional organization in the world dealing with aircraft disasters is the National Transportation and Safety Board of the USA. And for the person who's asking the question, I know that they can be invited to assist, or they can be asked to assist in the investigation. They're not taking over. Similar to how you can ask the FBI if there's a crime. You can ask the FBI to come and assist. You can ask Scotland Yard to come and assist. You can also ask the National Transportation and Safety Board through the various channels you can go through to ask them to come and assist with this investigation. You can ask them to come and assist with this investigation. But the silence that we have had, helicopter went missing on Wednesday. The chief of staff called a press brief or a media brief, 6:30 Friday afternoon. Wreckage sighted Thursday, nothing. Bodies recovered and brought to town Friday, nothing. Not until Saturday, 10 or 11 o'clock. Then you call another media briefing. That is how these things are to be managed. And therefore, all kind of speculation is being filled. Because I am sure that the survivors would have said, at least to their relatives, at least to the persons who spent the night with them at the bush bottom, as we would say, they would have said exactly what transpired. They would have said, so it is known. I understand quite clearly that some of the details you might not be able to release to the public. You're not going to be able to do that. But there are lots of information that you can tell people to allay fears and to ease this speculation. Again, I ask the question, how come the pilot of the helicopter, Michael Charles, Lieutenant Colonel, retired, I think he was born beyond recognition? That is what the report is saying. And the co-pilot for this very aircraft survived without us born. Something, and the maths and mathsing, something is wrong. The maths is not mathsing. Mr. Conway, do you want to say anything more on this before we move on? We got to talk about it another time. But time running out, and we got to talk about this visit to St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So anything else you want to say?
And I don't know what was the mad rush about. The PM and then they gone for DNA. You remember Lindo Creek? It took over a year before they could have gotten anything, So they need to have professional help. And apart from the National Transport and Safety Board, the FBI got a disaster squad. They could ask for some assistance there too. The whole thing is shrouded in secrecy, and that's why we we having problems, and that's why people are speculating, and that's why people are saying things that making the army song look bad, and they're really looking bad. So I hope that they, pick up the pieces and give us something. Yes, I agree that certain things they won't want to say because they might want to say it might compromise national security. But some other things that clearly you could let the public know. Let us know what went on, what played out there. But no, they remain silent. A wall of silence. Just like how they remain silent with Gregory Smith matter.
Well, let me say this. Let me say this too. They said the police spearheading the investigation. So I have a lot of questions that I would want to ask. What aspect of the investigation the police spearheading? Because they also said that the Civil Aviation Authority is also, as we would expect, the helicopter crash. The Civil Aviation Authority of Guyana must have a role in that. And if the police are investigating, which unit from the police? This accident took place in Region 7, I think. So who from the police, which department? Is it the major crimes unit? Which unit is investigating? These are things that should be brought to the to the public's attention. Who is the lead investigator from the police in this matter? Who investigating? Who is investigating? We need to know that. We need to know. And there's no secret. You should tell people who investigating. And let me remind them that the Coroner's Act, I think it's 403 now, chapter 403 of the laws of Guyana. The Coroner's Act says that whenever there's an unnatural death, there should be a coroner's inquest to determine the cause and culpability. Let me go that again. The Coroner's Act, chapter 403 of the laws of Guyana stipulates that whenever there is an unnatural death, and there's no doubt that these 5 deaths were unnatural, that whenever there's an unnatural death, there should be an inquest conducted by a magistrate to determine the cause of the death. So I hope they're going to do an inquest. I hope, and they're not going to tell you, say, well, they're waiting until the other investigation is done by the police and thing. I think these things can be run, can be parallel investigations. Can be parallel investigation, just in case the extended squatter did not know. Now that I've mentioned it, perhaps you will want to get your people to tell you what is the process to get a coroner's inquest going to determine the cause of death of these 5 persons and responsibility and all of that. And also, let me say this. I mentioned it before that on Monday, I haven't heard anything said about it. Proper counseling and support for these survivors. counseling and support for the survivors and the relative of the deceased. You're not hearing anything about that. And the chief of staff ought to know, because when a statement was made about him by a member of parliament, he was so emotionally disturbed that he filed a criminal complaint, cybercrime complaint against her. So he ought to know how this thing does work. So I am hoping that they remember that the families need counseling. And all the indecency that took place on the government, as I mentioned on Monday, as the bodies were being flown to Ogle, the finance minister is announcing a 6.5% increase to salaries for public servants. I said there's more mourning, because when you're bawling for the people who died, and then you hear you're getting a 6.5, when according to one of the news papers earlier, they had said a 9. It's more crying, it's more weeping, it's more mourning, weeping and gnashing of teeth. And as I said, they shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. And those who have teeth, their gums shall feel the heat. That is what taking place. And then somebody mentioned it, the desecration of the national flag. Can you imagine they're opening this Heroes Highway, as they call it, and they're painting big the national flag on the ground. The national flag of Guyana is painted on the ground. And it is not before long you're going to see people walking on it, dog running around the place and shitting on it, horse passing and shitting, all kind of desecration action can take place. And that is what these people are up to. That is what these incompetent people are up to. Can you imagine that? The national flag, large national flag, is painted on the ground. It is not even, you shouldn't even project it on the ground, not on the ground. And we know when you're hoisting and you're lowering the flag, you get trouble if you make the tip of the flag touch the ground. Just the tip touch the ground when you're hoisting and lowering flag. And here you have these people painting the national flag on the ground. Not to mention that the commissioning, the word commission with 3M, COMMM, all of that. Incompetence, nothing more. A desecration of the flag. And this thing is painful to people like me who serve. Painful to see that, knowing the type of training we had and the type of reverence we were taught to pay to the flag. And that is what they are doing. Mr. Conway, help me out here, and then we're going to move to the next subject.
Well, I agree with you, Paul. You know that I can't find words to describe what they did to the flag. And as I said on the last program, the president said when they were hoisting the flag on that mountain there, he said that they make sure that the flag didn't touch the ground. He said they make sure, he come from his own words. And lo and behold, they painted it up on the ground and people walking and trampling on it and you know, ridiculous, Paul. Let's move on with something else, man.
But you know, you say you can't find words to describe it. I can find the words, but and the words are to be spoken over a drink in a rum shop. You got to use the vernacular when you're describing these things. And this is not that program where we descend into that type of discourse. So yeah, we can find words where we there by Demico or somewhere taking a beer and a drink to describe exactly what went on there. Well, let me say this here now. Coming today, this contentious meeting tomorrow in St. Vincent between the president of Guyana and the president of Venezuela, President Nicolas Maduro. Got to pronounce it correctly, Nicolas Maduro. I don't understand what this meeting is about. The meeting is organized, I understand, by Ralph Gonzalez. That's same Ralph, who is accused of rape. A man who is self-serving, in my view. This is the man who, I think it was early this year, Guyana National Award, the second highest award, Order of Roraima, you get. Sometime last year, Venezuela gave me a national award as well. That is after he went to the United Nations, I think after or sometime, he went and he represented Venezuela's case. He battled for Venezuela, he lashing out. He lashing out at America for the sanctions that were imposed on Venezuela. He went to the United Nations and he battled for Venezuela. Now, this is the same Ralph Gonzalez who supposed to, well, he's the CELAC is some pro temp chairman or president, and then he take this meeting. But it is the part of this that amazed a lot of people is when Ralph Gonzalez announced that this discussion for this meeting was taking place in September of this year. So the people get this speakeasy meeting going on, and nobody didn't tell Ghanaian public, nobody didn't tell you that Ralph Gonzalez talking to Irfan Ali and Maduro about meeting. So then, when the thing was leaked, he wrote to the to President Irfan Ali, and somehow the thing got out, and then he jumped and he had a press conference, and he said that the meeting, the purpose of the meeting is to discuss this border issue. President Ali maintains that the land border, and I noted they saying land border, so I had to ask the question whether, if you're saying the land border is not up for discussion, whether the maritime border is up for discussion. I don't know. But the question was asked. He's saying that is not up for discussion. In the meanwhile, the Venezuelan president has made it clear that that is the purpose of the meeting, to discuss this border controversy. Our president has said repeatedly that the matter is before the International Court of Justice, and they are the ones who will decide. Venezuela has said that, look, we don't recognize that the International Court of Justice as jurisdiction can resolve this matter. And they have been calling for dialogue all along. They have been calling. So this situation, as I see it, is a win for Nicolas Maduro and Venezuela, because no sooner than the letter was dispatched to President Ali and he accepted the meeting, Maduro told his people that Guyana has now decided that the only way to resolve this border controversy is through bilateral discourse. In other words, Maduro is saying to his people that Guyana has abandoned the ICJ arrangement. That is what Maduro said. And therefore, I have a strong suspicion that our president is walking blindly into a trap set by Nicolas Maduro and Ralph Gonzalez. That is my view. That is my view. That he walking blindly into this trap. And I've said before, I don't believe that he has the experience. I don't believe that he has the temperament to deal with such a complex issue. This is not an issue about PPP. This is not an issue about Irfan Ali and Bara Jagdeo. This is about issue about Guyana. This is about issue that involves all of us Guyanese. And we have a man, we don't even know what is the agenda. Because it is clear, it is absolutely clear that there's no agreement on what is to be discussed. None whatsoever. So you're going into a meeting of this nature. You don't know what is to be discussed. You have what you think you're going to discuss. Ralph Gonzalez has his own agenda. And Nicolas Maduro has his own agenda. So what is the purpose of this meeting? You are going to stare one another in the face. That is what is going to happen. No agenda. The delegation? What type of experienced diplomats and perhaps even legal people you have on this delegation to meet with these people? I think the president said that he was advised by senior diplomats and the legal experts that he should have the meeting. That is, as far as I'm concerned, that is balderdash. The matter is before the ICJ. The United Nations Secretary General put it there. Because this talking that Maduro wants took place for a number of years and did not get any place. So the Geneva Agreement says that if you talk and you can't get through, let the United Nations Secretary General determine how this matter is going to be resolved. And in 2018, when the Guyana government put it to the United Nations Secretary General, the United Nations Secretary General said, let the ICJ decide. Venezuela, on more than one occasion, say that they don't recognize that the ICJ has the jurisdiction to handle the matter. The ICJ has ruled on at least 2 occasions that they have the jurisdiction to try to deal with this matter. The ICJ only a few weeks ago made some interim orders, which Venezuela has clearly flouted. Venezuela has made move to annex Essequibo. They appoint a general to be the governor of Essequibo. They tell the people who are doing work there that they must leave within 3 months. They are supposed to hold a census in Essequibo to issue identification card and all of that to Guyanese living in Essequibo. All of these aggressive action, which amongst, in my view, to a declaration of war. And you going to sit down and meet with this man without any preconditions as far as I see. That is what is going on. Again, Mr. Conway, I got to always call you to see if you can help me out here, man. So please, maybe you being very experienced, maybe you can help me to tell me what is the purpose of this meeting that is to be held tomorrow in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Tell me, please.
If you're going there with any meeting, with any agenda, it means to say that you have no purpose and you shouldn't be there. On the other side of the thing, Madura, what's his name, going there with a 7-point strategic plan that he announced recently, including annexing of Venezuela, of Essequibo, including appointing a major general to take command, including giving out citizenship and ID cards to all those who live in Essequibo, including threatening those persons, ExxonMobil and others, and also our local miners that they can't work after they got pack up after 3 months. And if you got to work here, you gotta get permission from Venezuela. All those things he has not denounced anything. He ain't pulled back on anything. He's sticking to those things. And the president going there with open arms. He going and talk to his brother. And who he's going with? Understand it's a secret because they don't want to compromise national security, so they won't say who would be going with the president. He doesn't have an ambassador in Venezuela to be with him. It's boggles the mind that the president they go in there without an agenda, and the Venezuelan president has spelled out his agenda, and Gonzalez also say what they would be discussing, and yet still our president rushing there, to use a fancy term, rushing there with breakneck speed to have discussion with a man who wants 2/3 of Guyana. And no way, Paul, no way.
Yeah, because when you look at, again, I said, oh no, the delegation, if at all, I hope you're not going as a one-man army. But when you look at the foreign minister, UTAD, foreign secretary Robert Prasad, then you have the director general, I think she is Elizabeth Harper, former prime ministerial candidate. Maybe she's the most experienced diplomat in that group. I don't know who is going because they haven't announced that. And except for national security, what security? What security? You go into a meeting of that nature and you are not announcing who are the people who are going to accompany you. You're not announcing what the agenda will be. How do you go to a meeting without an agenda? How do you, and the experts that he say he consulted with, I have consulted with some people who are considered expert too, and they say, no way should presidents be meeting like that. So for all those who say, well, Ramphal advised you to go, buddy, that got to be jackass advice, because Ramphal and all of these seasoned diplomats will know that meetings of that nature start with the lower people, part at the lower level, work its way up to maybe to the to the Minister of Foreign Affairs, and they trash out all the controversies and all of those things. So by the time the presidents should meet, by the time the president meet, all of these nitty-gritty are sorted out. That is how the people say that this thing should work. That presidents don't go to a meeting just like that on such a very consequential issue. The people in the ministries and all of those people will meet. Those people are going to meet, sort out what the agenda will be. And that is the critical issue, what the agenda. So if that had been done, we're not going to get to the stage where the day before the meeting, we know what the agenda is. And I noted too, somebody mentioned it too, I noted that initially they had said that the president of Brazil was to go there as an observer. And it was either yesterday or the day before, I noted that Brazilian president is no longer going there. And he's not even sending the foreign secretary or the man in charge of foreign affairs. Some one of the junior people going there to observe. And I think I read this morning where the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, Dr. Keith Rowley, will be attending this thing. I see again, this meeting seems to be a well-laid trap set by Ralph Gonzalez and Nicolas Maduro for Irfan Ali, president of Guyana, to walk in. It's like the spider setting the web for the fly. That is what is happening there. The spider setting a web for the fly, and the fly is going to go. Well, somebody said the Barbados president as well. Those people are self-serving. Let me tell you, when they come to CARICOM, as it currently stands, you can't really trust these people, especially when it relates to this Venezuela border issue. They are looking after Petrocaribe. Petrocaribe is what they are interested in, about the oil that Venezuela supplies to the CARICOM members at a cheap price, because the thing started under 2005 with Hugo Chavez, and it has died away because of the sanctions, I think, and all of that. And only last year, November, I think it has been reported that Venezuela sent a shipment of fuel to St. Vincent. At the time, the sanctions were on. And last year, they sent a shipment. Only this year, October, I think it was, Mia Mottley, the Prime Minister of Barbados, is now trying to sign on to Petrocaribe because they were not a member of it. And for those of you who don't know, it's account to Chavez. I mean, you're going to talk about it some other day. When it came in 2005, was a concessionary arrangement to CARICOM states. I think there were 17 CARICOM states who signed on, including Guyana, where they're given oil, fuel at but I'm not sure the concessionary price, but they have to pay 60% upfront and the next 40% over a prolonged period of time at negligible interest rate. So it was a sweetheart deal. And then the thing flopped for some reason, because with the sanctions and all of that. They are now trying to revive it. They are now trying to revive Petrocaribe. It's there for you to read. And therefore, Ralph Gonzalez, Mia Motley, Scarrett from who is the chairman of CARICOM, those people are looking into the interests of themselves and their country. That is my view. That is how I read it. So when they jump on the talk and they try to live sweet with Venezuela, it's not because they believe Venezuela has any proper claim to our territory. It's because they want Venezuela to continue to supply them with this sweetheart oil deal. That is the purpose. That is the purpose of them sucking up to Maduro. That is what it is about. You can't trust them. You cannot. So despite the fact that President Irfan Ali believed that he's so sweet with Ralph Gonzalez and he's so sweet with Mia Motley to the point where he just make catfish curry and send for and all of that. Those people looking after their interests and interests of the country. To the extent where when statements are issued from CARICOM, from the Prime Minister of Barbados and others, they are portraying this thing like if Guyana, they're equating Guyana with Venezuela and saying that both countries must tone down. Tone down what? Venezuela has clearly been the only aggressor in this whole thing. Venezuela has been the only aggressor. But yet still when they're issuing statement, they feel compelled to go and say, both countries should seek to have peace. They should tell Venezuela to back off. That should tell Venezuela to respect the ICC interim judgment, which say they should not make any move. And even the ICC dance. No, none of the two countries should make any move to aggravate the situation. We have not done so. We, the Guyanese, have not done so. Venezuela, the ones who had the referendum with the 5 questions to decide that they're not going to recognize the ICC's decision, to say that they are going to now annex Essequibo. They're going to redraw the map to include Essequibo. They're going to have census in Essequibo and issue identification card to people, Guyanese, who are in Essequibo. They are the ones who have been aggressive. They are the ones. I said ICC, ICG, I mean. Is it cricket in me when I say ICC? I like I'm not going to say you did not hear me. If I did say ICC, I apologize. I meant ICJ, the International Court of Justice. But she has a cricket man, a cricket in the air. Maybe I did say ICC. I not doubt you. I did say ICC, but it was a slip of the tongue. It was not the fault of the mind. And I would not tell you, my good students, that you did not hear. You have to listen. You did not hear. I accept that I made a mistake. I accept. CC, let me hear you again on this thing before we move on, man.
The the thing with the president that is bothering me, is that he's jumping over the place, running about the place. He has not yet made a substantive address to the nation in relation to this matter. Here he been a scribble some speech there, some speech at the National Stadium and all kind of thing. The president must substantially address the nation. And in addition to that too, the National Assembly, according to the Constitution, although the president is not a member of the National Assembly, the Constitution gives him the authority to call them and address them, or not even address them, also to send message which they have to discuss. The nation is not only at sea. The nation is we are deep in the ocean. We don't know, the other guys don't know what really is going on. And the president has not been acting like a statesman. He has got to let us know what's going on, what is his plan. He gained to that country without a plan. Gain at the airport there without a plan. As we say, Brazil pull out, send their low life people, can't say low life, low level people to deal with the situation. We don't have an ambassador in Venezuela. The whole thing is not being properly handled. Not properly handled. And then to crown it off, we want our soldiers, our joint service to defend our borders, and you give them 6.5% increase. One would have thought that you would create incentives for them to want to go and serve at the border, and also to look after their family when they are away there. Things like separation allowances and those kind of things there, that you give them a nice package. Persons who go in and serve there, that others would want to join the joint services, would want to join the army, would want to join the police force, and then go and serve them because they're paying them and good, but we're getting good money. But right now, the morale of the ranks them low. And I could tell you, and I don't want to talk on the air in terms of the support that the squatter is giving to his people them on the border. It is shocking to know what he give them in terms of, anyway, let me don't talk, but it's shocking to know what he give them. So we need to do far better than what we doing, Paul. We not responding as we are to. And it's time that the president stand up as a man, say no to CARICOM, say no to others. This is Guyana I'm dealing with. I have a mandate from the public saying no to Venezuela, but no, he can't say no. He's quick to say yes. Maybe he's been programmed to go and tumble up or go and get caught in the web.
Well, yeah, let's hope that when Friday morning comes, we in here that we no longer own Essequibo. And let me say this. And somebody up to yesterday, somebody told me about my crystal ball and all of that. I anticipate that by Friday morning, look to see how Venezuela is going to spin this meeting. Venezuela is propaganda machine is going to go into full work to say that this meeting has been a success, and you're going to hear that our president agreed to things that perhaps he didn't even discuss or agree. The mere fact that you're going to meet Venezuela is going to milk this. Maduro milking this for his own internal political fortunes. And trust me, by Friday, if not sooner, you're going to hear that this meeting from Venezuela perspective was so successful because Guyana now, despite what it is saying all along, have now decided to meet with Venezuela to discuss this border issue. Regardless of what they say, That is what is going to be spun by the Venezuelan. That is my prediction. It is going to be spun like that. Well, let me move on. First of all, I want to say thank you, students, for forgiving me for saying ICC instead of ICJ. Many persons pointed out that I made a mistake, and I said I acknowledge that I made a mistake, and I'm not going to tell you you did not listen. Yeah, I made a mistake. We are human beings, and we do make mistakes. When you make the mistake, is how you react when it is brought to your attention. Now, the closing thing I want to talk about SCC is this disturbing incident night before the last, where renowned and well-respected journalist Travis Stace, they say an attempt was made on his life. Shots were fired at his car. Not the first time. He had a car parked in a compound in town, and it was set alight. And somehow they are after Travis. And I suspect you're going to hear all kind of spin. You're going to hear all kind of spin as to the motive behind this incident. That is how it's going to be spun. That is, again, my prediction. It is going to be spun. But when you have the life of a journalist, a well-known journalist, one of the foremost investigative journalists in Guyana, being not only threatened, but being attempt is made on his life, this is something to worry about. This is something to worry. Who would want to silence Travis Chase? Who would want to kill Travis Chase? That is a question that is to be asked and to be answered. And again, I would say that because of the people have believe that the police are not credible, there is no expectation that any proper report will be done, which is the sad part. This thing occurred. One would expect that you're going to have a robust investigation to find out who the perpetrators were. But I am not confident, and many people are not confident that a proper investigation would be done. Let me see. I sure you read that, and very disturbing and very worrying that an attempt would have been made on the life of Travis Chase. What are your views?
Like you, Paul, I am also perturbed over the whole situation. And then I go back to the police conference I did 2 conferences ago, where they say the cameras will replace boots on the ground. The cameras will replace boots. There are not plenty cameras around the place. Are they working or are they not working? Or perhaps they blank them out like how they blank out that one outside the Palm Court when Paper Shots was executed. Perhaps they're using the cameras maybe to spy on me and you and the leader of the opposition and other people there. Perhaps they're not using the cameras for real security purpose to solve crime. Maybe they're using them for their own political gains.
According to GHK Land, they got police sitting down in front of your house in dark tin cars all the time, trying for monitoring and all of that. So maybe the resources are not being properly used. But again, I say, as you said, with all of these cameras that they have, identifying the suspects ought not to be that difficult. But again, it's a worrying thing. And I know because I have mentioned it on this program that people have even issued threats against me, but I'm not afraid. I am not. I shouldn't say I'm not concerned, but I'm not afraid. That is not going to prevent me from continuing to come here and to speak the truth, and to highlight and to let people know what is going on. Because I'm not saying because we don't know the motive behind the attempt on Travis's life, but I'm saying that there are elements in the society who don't want to hear the truth. They don't want to hear that. And I am going to continue to come here and to tell you the truth. For example, when they come out with this press release last night about Slow being charged, yeah, Slow is charged 4 charges. And maybe I got to get the next 15 before I become eligible for the presidency. Because I get 4. 1, conspiracy to commit fraud. 3, sexual assault. President at 19 when he was made president. So maybe when I get the next 15, I will then become eligible to be president as well. So that is the story. That is the story. My brother, any closing remarks from you? We there well over the time that we wanted to be. So any closing remarks?
And then Paul, you want to rush to the DPP, the politically control inclined DPP, for her to null procedure matters. You will have your day in court. And I always closing by saying that we should look at our dime, diplomacy, intelligence, our military, and our economy. That's what I want to close with.
And you're correct. Even if they were to offer to discontinue now, I say no. I want the matter ventilated in court because I had said that to my lawyers a long time. I don't want this matter struck out because of any technicality. I said I want the matter go to court, whether it was the magistrate court or whether it was the high court. And now the magistrate has ruled that it be disposed of the magistrate court. I'm overjoyed because I will get the opportunity, and the world will get the opportunity to hear exactly what transpired. And as somebody said in this program, commented, he who accuses must prove. So they're making an accusation. Let them come and let me go to court, man. Let us go to court. I don't want the matter discontinued. I want the evidence led to support the allegation. And if it comes to the point where I have to lead a defense, I am looking forward to all of that. I am looking forward. They are not going to get me faced. They're going to get me afraid. I'm going to come. I'm going to tell you what you need to hear. The truth. And as I've said before repeatedly, don't take whatever I say hook, line, and sinker. You can go and do your research. As I've said, let me show you again the particulars of the charge, the three charges. That is you have there. Contrary to Section 40 of the Sexual Offences Act, that you're the 26th day of March, the 29th day of March, and the 2nd day of April, 2019, at police headquarters, Ivlery, Georgetown, Guyana, touched Nicola Kendall in a sexual way by rubbing her thigh and foot without her consent. That is the allegation that I am facing. So when they come and tell you about sexual assault and people believe it's rape, as in Dharamlal's case, or buggery like Dharamlal, or is rape like Ralph Gonzalez, no, that is not the allegation. The allegation, the lying allegation, false allegation is that they're wrong. And I'm going to get a chance to prove it in court. I'm looking forward to that. I am looking forward. Now, I want to tell you too that tomorrow, I almost forget, we are back in court tomorrow. Mr. Conway, myself, and some other retired and serving police officers. They're still serving even though they're interdicted with this conspiracy to commit fraud charge. Tomorrow at 9 o'clock, the matter continues in court 3. And I am hoping that they don't come with some other curveball to try to delay the thing any further. They have thrown 2 so far, They sued the magistrate to get the magistrate to prevent the magistrate from continuing the matter. They said that they have filed for a stay, which was never granted, I suspect, because the magistrate has continued. Then when we met again, they now filed a fixed date application against the magistrate, again seeking to have her stop the trial. She has proceeded ahead with the trial. The trial is adjourned and is to continue tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. And based on what transpired on the last occasion, the prosecutor said that they have 2 more witnesses to call. And therefore, we expect that the 2 witnesses will be called tomorrow. And the magistrate has set aside, I think it's the whole day for trial tomorrow. And I would not be surprised. Let me look into my crystal ball here again. I would not be surprised if when tomorrow comes, you're going to hear that they have other witnesses to call other than the 2. And they have gone to court again, to the High Court, to try some other means to further delay this process. It's the same thing with the sexual offense charges. You bring charges since 2021. And this is 2023, almost closing. And that is what they're doing. Every effort to delay and to delay and to delay these matters. So, folks, I am hoping that tomorrow when we go to court, the witnesses will be there and the trial will continue and we'll get an idea as to when the trial for this conspiracy to commit fraud charge is going to be end. But it's going to end at some stage. And the results, I know what the results are going to, or the result is going to be. I want to encourage you to continue to be safe. We have to talk about, as I indicated, all of these carnage on the road. Time catch up with us. We can't talk about it today. I am tempted to put on another program at some stage to address certain issues, because things are coming so fast that we are behind on some of the things that we want to talk about. So I'm thinking about it. I'm going to consult with Mr. Conway and the technical people to see if perhaps we can deal with this traffic situation. Get a hour for a 3/4 hour and deal with the traffic situation. I am tempted to do so. Again, I say to you that if you go to Facebook and follow the page speaking out, exposing corruption and incompetence. If you go to YouTube and you subscribe to the channel, if we decide to have a program outside of schedule, you are going to get the notification. But if you don't follow, if you don't subscribe, chances are that you're likely to miss it. So again, I say go to Facebook, exposing corruption and incompetence. Follow the page. Go to YouTube, by the same name. Subscribe to the channel. And whenever there is a program, whenever anything is posted on the YouTube channel or on the Facebook channel, you as a subscriber will get a notification so that you're going to be aware of what's going on. I am aware that many of you right now have not subscribed. Many of you have not subscribed. Many of you have not followed, because I know that I get when somebody subscribe or when they follow the page, they will send a notification to me that this person has subscribed or this person has followed. And you might be surprised to know some of the persons who are following and some of them who are subscribing. Some of the same persons that we refer to as Jagabots and Trench Crapo and Amphibian, yeah, they're following and they are subscribing. So you too should do the same. Until, the next scheduled program is Monday. As I said, I'm thinking about perhaps another program within the next few days or so, and you're going to get the notification. But until then, stay safe, my fellows. Stay safe. Christmas is coming, and this year is ending very badly. Very, very badly. I will leave by playing our, what is the most left, our national anthem, Not to Blade the Grass, and we will see you when we see you. Bye.
We are a peaceful people, struggling, we struggle, and we don't look for trouble, just ask around. But when outside faces, from foreign places, talk about taking over, we ain't backing down. No, we ain't giving up no mountain, and we ain't giving up no tree, we ain't giving up no river, that belong to we, not the one blue sake, not one rice grain, not one chorus, not a blade of